This is the Argo Mole, a medium mining ship. It can crew up to 5 players. It has 3 mining lasers and a lot of storage, about 96 SCU of storage. And as you can probably guess, I solo with it. So in this video, I'm going to kind of do a quick mining run with this ship and show you kind of how the process I use to kind of solo this thing. It's a beast. If you buy this ship with credits in game, it'll cost you about 5 million, and if you purchase it on the pledge store, it's a little over $300 for this ship. But it can hold 3 times the volume of the prospector, which would be the light mining ship. So you can either go moon mining or air on halo mining, and what I've been doing mostly is just mining around the station here and selling the raw to kind of get my currency up and everything. So I'll show you guys the process here and how it all goes. The way I have this set up is I have all 3 lasers essentially configured differently for the different types of rocks that I might come across. So I'll kind of go over the fittings and stuff in more detail. I tend to go out on pretty long sessions whenever I'm mining, and that's one of the big reasons why I like using the mole, because it allows me to stay out for about 3 times as long as it would with the prospector. And also, with the way that mining kind of works now, the prospector is essentially better at the smaller stuff, and the mole can be configured to do a little bit better with the larger stuff. But I also just have this thing configured differently on each laser head, so depending on what I kind of find, I can just switch to whatever laser. Usually I'm running a Helix 2 on the front mining head, and that allows me to essentially do the bigger rocks, frack those, and then secondary fracks I'll use one of the other 2 lasers depending on mass, resistance, and everything like that. Lately I used to go out and do a lot of quant mining. I used to do a lot of refining, but the surcharge right now for all of the refining jobs that you do is just really kind of crazy, and it's just better to kind of go out here and fill up this thing and sell the raw and be done with it. Normally, if I refine the ore, I would spend upwards to 10,000 credits, and then have to wait 8 hours, and then have to put that in on a hauler, and then take it to the TTD and sell it. So when you're just generally just building funds and credits at the beginning, it's just better to just sell the raw, really. Normally what I can expect from this is anywhere between like 50 on a really bad load to all the way up to like 100,000 on a pretty decent load. I did a pretty decent load this morning, which is about 900 or 99,000 credits. It wasn't a great load. It had a lot of different stuff in there, but normally I'm going after Bex or Boris or Laranite or Terranite. If I find quant in large quantities and I can realistically kind of get that back to station, then I'll get it. But I really don't do a lot of quant mining anymore, because a lot of the value in the other minerals has gone up significantly. So as you can see here, as I go out of station here, when I'm mining around the station here, I just kind of like start flying out here, kind of away from the station. I want to be kind of far out so that when I'm done mining, I can just quantum warp drive back to the station, which works out really well. So really we're just kind of going out through here and looking for signatures. Once I find something like this, you could scan it, but sometimes it's finicky. I usually just try to get pretty close to it so I can see if it's a rock, and then if I get close enough, I'll use you can now use the mining scanner on the mole from the pilot seat, so it allows you to see the configuration of a rock, and so we only have to like switch the seats or get into the mining head when we have a pretty good idea if we can mine something or not. I'm not using max level mods on this. They're really expensive, and before when I mined, if you lost your ship, the only thing that came back from the insurance claim was the mining heads, not the mods. So until I can confirm for myself that the mods, because supposedly the mods are saved on the insurance claim now, but until I can confirm that for myself, I'm not really going to the high tier mods yet. And with salvaging coming out now, you end up seeing a lot of this stuff right here. So what would normally be rocks in the past is just ships that can be salvaged, which I've done a video over salvaging. It's not bad. It's some pretty good money. And it always doesn't matter if you go to like a moon or if you go to the Aeron Halo or if you go out here. The biggest time sink that you're going to have, regardless of if you're in the mole or in the prospector, is going to be finding a good rock. And that's why another reason I like using the mole, because it allows me to not necessarily be too picky. I can just kind of go out there and grab whatever. If you're in a prospector, you only have 32 SCU. So a lot of the rocks that you can mine are much bigger than that. So you have to be a lot more careful and a lot more diligent and a lot more picky about the materials or minerals that you are mining. So with the 96 that this ship offers, it's a little bit more forgiving, and as long as I can come back with 60 to 100,000, it's a good trip, because we're not really going too far out like to the Aeron Halo, or we don't spend a lot of time in quantum travel or anything like that. So, and I even come out here and mined out here and been pretty picky about everything, even out here. You have to go pretty far out. Sometimes you find rocks like right next to the station, but most of the time it's going to be salvage that things like the vulture and stuff can kind of eat on. So, and you do kind of want to be kind of further out anyway. All right. So we're going to just start looking at some of these things. We should start seeing some rocks here pretty soon. So let's go ahead and get our heading right. Do a little outward view here. Pretty cool little view there. And there's kind of a whole little process too about getting the rock all lined up with your mining head and everything. I'll kind of show you what I kind of do for that. It does take some practice once you start actually solo mining in the mole. Just your procedures and stuff are everything's very precise with how everything's done. So normally when you get below 2,000 meters, you'll be able to tell. You want to kind of slow down a little bit so you don't blow past the rock, because sometimes it can be a little delayed depending on server latency and stuff like that. So we see 3 things here. This could be salvage as well. We've seen a lot of salvage out here. Go and do another scan. Looks like it could be rocks. So we got about 3 here, which is, I like to see 3 because it allows us to kind of have a couple of options here. So now that they changed it to where you can use the mining scanner here in the pilot seat, we can just hit M like we normally would go into mining mode, and we can kind of just get close and hover over this thing and kind of see what this makeup is. C-type, 7,000, almost 8,000 mass, 23 SCU. It's not a bad one. That'll probably be. I won't take the main helix head. That'll probably take the Hoff. We're gonna kind of look at all this. This is 18 tungsten Bexelite 47. We can attempt to do this one. This is probably the best of the 3 because of the Bex. This is a very small rock. This is probably going to be very, very tiny. Yeah, 490. It's probably just like a fragment, 1 SCU. So we don't want to do that. They tell you now, the rock will actually tell you when you scan it how big it is, which is nice. So normally what I do is we're going to try this one, see what the helix can do on this mass. I try to come down to about 55, 54 or so. And then I'm just going to tilt up to whatever feels good, right about there. Another thing you do too is hit F4 and then hold down Z and kind of look around as well. So we can see that it's probably going to be a pretty decent positioning. And then we'll just get out of the seat here and we'll go and get in the main laser. This is about 40. So a couple of 40 SCU rocks is usually kind of what I end up going for. It's obviously a lot of random RNG depending on kind of what you find and everything. So let's get everything powered on here. So let's see. So this would be easy. So we should be able to get this one. But let's go over what I've got here. You can't really see it from my camera, but I'll turn my camera off so you guys can see the mods here for a second in the lower left. So I'm running a Helix 2 mining laser. That's because it has higher power. It allows me to kind of go after the bigger, thicker rocks. My mining modules is a Rieger C2, which increases laser power at the expense of optimal charge window size. And then I'm running 2 of those. And then I'm running a Stampede active module. This is something I need to turn on if I want to use it. It gives me another 35% laser power. It lowers my extraction rate, but it also lowers instability and shatter damage. This main head is basically for the initial frac. So we're going to go ahead and get in here. There's about 47. We can get all 47 of this. Is actually pretty cool. That would give us a little over halfway. So we're just chilling. We got 100%. Sometimes the laser comes on at 100%, which is annoying. So you want to make sure you check that. So we're going to bring it back down, bring it up to 72. We're going to try to find a spot where it can kind of like slowly kind of build a little bit. Go back to 100 and just see how it grows. We're about 40 meters away from the rock, so it might take a little bit. We could have been a little bit closer, but 54 meters is kind of a good spot to be in. You can like look for a hot spot kind of like that. I don't mind when the charge level goes up slowly because it allows for a little stability. So as we kind of heat this rock up, we can also lower this too. We can use a Stampede on it, but I don't think we'll have to because we're getting there. Once we get into the green, we'll kind of back down on the laser intensity a little bit. About every 5 seconds, we're getting getting some progress. But the trick here is you don't want to like overcharge anything if you can help it on this stuff, because you don't want to lose any materials. Let's bring it down to 30. That's our minimum. We'll let that kind of come down a little bit. Control our overcharge. We might not need to actually bump it up. I think we're going to be fine here. Alright, that's a frac. Waiting on the server now. There we go. Let all that kind of settle. Now we can just kind of scan these other smaller pieces and kind of see what we're after the Bex 100%. So that's 6 SCU, no inert, some tungsten in there. I'm trying to look for the bigger pieces because we want to frac the bigger pieces with the Helix, but we're going to have to switch over. That one's not bad. See, all of this mass is actually pretty small, and this is the benefit of running the mole, because we'll be able to switch to the other mining head. 3 SCU on that one. Actually, that one can be extracted already. It's only 3 SCU. Yeah, it's like 90% inert, but we're probably going to like do this rock just for the video instead of filling up, and we're just going to kind of get that out of the way. This is also one that can be extracted as well. 0% inert, so we can go and grab that one. As long as we're getting the Bex. Like, we're going to end up taking this entire rock probably anyway, because it's only 47. So we're basically just cleaning up anything that doesn't need to be fracked again. And this is probably going to end up being like 50, 60, maybe 70 or so. Tungsten, Bexolite. So what I like to see is a lot of these fractures after the initial frac being alright, that's going to need to be fracked again, and this is going to be fracked again. So I'll kind of show you. We're going to go and get in the other laser head. I have two. I have a Hoff 2 in both of the other lasers. One is running a focus and a torrent, and the other one's running a torrent and a torpid. Mole mining is definitely a lot more stable than it used to be. But the only gripe I have right now with it is the whole ladder issue, which is not necessarily a mole thing. That's more or less just a ladder thing. So this one's using the Hofstede S2 and a Focus 2 and a Torrent 2. The Focus 2 essentially lowers laser power, but increases the optimal charge window size. The Torrent 2 will give the 35% faster optimal charge window charge, and also decrease the window size by 3. So the purpose behind this head is to be low power, but very stable. You see that optimal window just pops up when it's good to go. Let's go 28. Want to make sure, you always want to like wait a couple seconds to see how the rock's going to react. I try to do very small adjustments as I possibly can. We can also throttle if needed. So throttling would be like turning the laser off and then turning it back on, just to like kind of keep it in there. But see, our charge window is so fast that it doesn't take anything at all. Easy. This is 11 SCU. I think we're going to probably just go and take it all. I don't want these little guys to run out of range, because you see that? They're starting to run out of my range, so managed to get out one before it went out. Even if it has some inert, we don't want to wait too long, because we can only go up this high. So if we would have waited any longer on that one fracture, it would have been out of range on us. It can be kind of time consuming with the scanning, but that's with anything. That's with either the prospect or whatever. Got 10 SCU on this one. 62% Bex. That one's going to be fracked again, I think. Yeah. So that's the other rock, actually. we haven't fracked that one yet. So tungsten's fine. I'm really just kind of after a good amount of Bex here. We've only mined about 30 SCU. So if we were in a prospector, we would essentially be done at this point. Alright, let's switch over to power again. Or to fracture mode. Go increase some power in here. Kind of get this thing charged up a little bit. Whoa, see. That's... There, now turn the laser off. Let that die down a little bit. That's one thing you don't want to do. We got really lucky on that one. But it's kind of like speed mining. A little bit. There we go. Go back to extraction mode. We're just going to go and grab all this. We know we're going to be good to go. I want to show you guys, try to get you guys the value of what this rock is. There's calculators online that you can actually input all the rock information in. And you can see what the potential value is before you even mine a single ounce of it. So, but I think that I'll show you whatever it offers me in the window for this. I don't want this video to be too crazy long. But there we go. We got that was about 42 out of a 47 rock there. So as you can see, it's very possible. We can just, I'm usually just out here for like an hour or so. It generally it only takes about 30 minutes to fill up the mole. Longer, obviously, if you're more picky about what you're getting. And also I've done, the lazy configuration as well, where one of the laser heads with a hopped on it, I'll put like the filter XLs on it. So if I do have a rock that I like, but it has a lot of inert, I can just use that head and filter out a good majority of that inert. But that used to be my old strategy until they kind of changed mining again. So now it's we really have to basically have a big rock laser head configuration and a small rock laser configuration head. So normally when I'm done, I'll just kind of go in here and turn on the quantum drive. The reason, and then this is all I have to do here is just line back up to the station here. Once it calibrates and spools and all that, we're just right back in it. So it's very little downtime actually with the way that the way I do this operation. Bring up the throttle. I usually just kind of like burst up, get some full speed, just enough to get into like armistice zone, and then I kind of start controlling my speed and get everything situated. I'll show you guys the landing process so you can kind of see. The landing process is something you're going to have to practice on with not just the mole, but also the prospector or anything really, especially if you're doing quant mining, right? You want to be able to graciously land. We came a little hot on this one. But we can also do a turn and burn, which is just turning all the way around and then just jetting in that direction, like that, to bring our speed back down. Hold Alt in, that'll get us a landing pad, kind of like start squaring up on that. And then we can also go ahead and put down our landing gear. Luckily everything, there used to be just like pads out here that you could land on. It was a lot quicker, but now everything is essentially just hangers. We'll go and line up on that. Space brakes to like square ourselves up. And making this process smooth is going to speed up your mining process as well. A lot of like what you're going to be doing is looking for rocks and landing and doing stuff like that. So those are all skills. Whoa, coming in hot. But we did it. Nice little landing there. So we're going to get out, and it does take a little bit of time to get out of the mole as opposed to like the prospector, but it's worth it when you go out and fill up. I used to do a lot of planet side mining or moon mining, as it were, but it actually that's what I did this morning. Was I did a run out on Lyra, but it took me longer to find a rock on Lyra than it did just like finding a decent rock out here by the station. And then you have to also add like the 2 million kilometer quantum travel and all that stuff that kind of goes into it. So, you know, a lot of what I've been doing lately is just mining around the station here. So the next thing I do is I just go up here and, like I do with the prospector, I will go up here and store it, make our way down to the refinery, and sell the ore. If I had to guess, I would say that a rock was probably worth probably not a whole lot of Becks, but I wouldn't be shocked to see like 50. I always try to sit here and wait for it to say receive, just to make sure it got stored and everything. So all of our ore is good to go. But yeah, anywhere probably for that rock, anywhere between 30 to 50,000. But we'll see. Normally a full mole for me with just kind of like a mixture of everything is somewhere in the north of like 80,000. So 40-ish. And it didn't really take us that long to do it. I mean, it took us longer to find it than to mine it. And also you could have went with that other 20 SU rock that we were sitting next to, but I figured just for the purpose of like kind of showing the process of mining and, you know, switching between the different types of lasers for the mining process in the mole is kind of the scope of this video. So let's get in here. Hope the terminal is not bugging out. There's our mole. 58, yeah. I was and there you see there the Bexlite is where the money was. Tungsten, not so much. We had a lot of tungsten, but we also had like 33 Bexlite. Bexlite is really, really good. If you can get a good majority of Bexlite in your hold, you'll have a good payday. Like, so we would have found another Bexlite rock like that one. That would have been a 100K run. So there you go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. And where's my head? There it is. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to try to do a lot more Star Citizen content in the future. And then, you know, try to get new ships and kind of show you guys around some of the newer ships and some different mining and stuff like that. But I'll see you guys in the next one.